If you're like me and you spend all your time at home, you should make your living space your dream room. So here are 10 upgrades you should make to your room or wherever you're living at. The first thing is a good desk. I spend most of my day right here behind me sitting at my desk. Now in my case, that's because I do YouTube full time, but whether you are or want to be a content creator, you're a student, or just in general you work remote, you are going to spend a lot of time sitting at your desk. So you need a good one that is entirely spacious, built high quality, that can hold some relatively heavy stuff. In my case, that is this gigantic PC monitor. I got some speakers on here. And even though I have a ton of big stuff on here, I don't feel cramped at all. I'll leave the exact measurements right here on screen because off the top of my head, I had no idea. But this is quite literally the perfect desk. It's actually adjustable as well, which I thought I would use that feature more, but in the times that I do use it, I love it because sitting at one spot for hours on end can definitely get to you. It can make your mind feel cluttered. So it's a nice switch in pace whenever you want to stand up. And this is a great purchase that, although it is quite expensive, is one of the best home upgrades that I made for this apartment. Now, speaking about investing into the areas that you're going to be spending a lot of time in, let's talk about a good bed. One of the best things that I was able to pick up for this apartment is a king size bed. Now I know what you're thinking, Aaron, you're 5'8", why could you possibly need a king size bed? If you're asking me that question, you clearly never slept on one. Having a king size bed is not only the biggest flex, it feels like I'm sleeping in my absolute own island. It is so nice having this much space and having one that is extremely comfortable. I just love sleeping on this thing. The one that I got is from a brand called Helix. What I like about this brand, they give you this little quiz that you could fill out asking you, how do you sleep? If you like your mattress firm or soft, what side do you sleep on? They ask you all these questions and then they give you a recommendation based on what you've answered. And for me, that was this Helix Dusk. I got this one in their Luxe version. I've had this for about a month now, and I gotta say, if there's absolutely one thing I recommend, it's this thing. Now, this is definitely a huge purchase, but it's also a huge purchase that is going to last you a very long time, because by now everybody should know that you spend 1/3 of your life sleeping. So you might as well get something that you are going to sleep with comfortably, and it's going to get you more well rested, overall improving your life. Because I've tried going the cheap route on mattresses and I always had bad shoulder pain. My lower back started to hurt, which is crazy to say at the age of 22. This thing has fixed everything for me. Now they do have financing options, so it's worth checking out, especially if you already have your own place. Now, to pair with it, the next home upgrade you can make are good sheets. There's no point in having a really good mattress if you're just going to cheap out on sheets. Now, from my understanding, the two most popular ones, especially for this season, is linen and bamboo. I ended up going with bamboo, and I am so glad I made this decision. This one is from Quince. It is extremely soft. It keeps really cool at night, which is something that I've always struggled with, is sweating at night. I love this colorway. I find this one to be extremely aesthetic. I even got the matching one for my pillows, which also do a really good job of keeping cool. The combination of these two have been making me sleep like an absolute baby. I am so glad I went with these two pickups. All right, I promise for the rest of the video, there is nothing going to be even close to the price of these. So the next home upgrade that you can make to really create your dream room is better lighting. It doesn't even matter how your apartment looks right now. There is no room that cannot be upgraded with better lighting. And I really recommend going with a more sunlight color. This just makes your entire vibe more cozy, and I would even say more mature and put together. And if you really want extra points for being more aesthetic, then get a dimmable one as well. As the outside gets darker and darker, I actually start to dim my lights because I don't need as much lighting. And two, especially at nighttime, there is something about having a dim room that just makes everything feel way more aesthetic and cozy. Especially when I'm watching movies, I have my lights set to around 10 to 15%, and I really love the vibe of my apartment. Now, there's two brands that I recommend. One is Philips Hue, which is a little bit more expensive, but I do like the fact that I'm able to connect this with my Siri. The second option is Govee. Govee is a lot more affordable. I still haven't figured out how to pair this with my Siri. Some people said that I could, but the app itself works perfectly fine. These are cheaper, even with the ones that have RGB, which isn't really my vibe. I do have it in my room, but my living room is just all pure, more sunlight driven, for again, that more mature vibe. And I really recommend getting some small lamps as well as some big lamps that can cover more of your room or apartment. All right, another upgrade that you can make to your room is having an Apple HomeKit. Again, this works with lights, so not only does that pair perfectly, but having an entire Apple ecosystem in your apartment is pretty much the coolest thing ever. You are going to feel like Tony Stark talking to Jarvis, especially the deeper you get into it, whether it's turning on your lights. One of the coolest things that I set up is as soon as I get to my apartment, I say, Siri, I'm home, and then all my lights turn on. And my most recent pickup when it comes to this HomeKit is an Apple TV, which is literally the best streaming platform that I've ever used. It integrates so easy with your iPhone and everything else. Sometimes I'll be in my kitchen either getting food or washing dishes, and I can tell Siri to play whatever I want, skip to the next episode, or whatever. In fact, the thing that I'm most impressed with is I could ask Siri, what did he just say? And then it'll rewind a bit, even put up the volume a little bit and turn on subtitles so I know exactly what they're saying. All right, there's no point in having an aesthetic dream room if it just smells terrible. So the next thing that you should start looking into is ways to make your room smell good and prevent bad odors. First thing I recommend is a good diffuser. I got a cheap one from Amazon and it's one of the best purchases that I've made so far. Just throw in some essential oils. These are actually better because these linger a little bit longer and they're just a tad bit stronger than just fragrances. So it'll do a really good job of masking bad odors. In fact, I got this hotel scent. It smells absolutely amazing. I use this pretty much every day. You could also get a candle. This is a really good alternative. I actually just got this one from Quince, and I gotta say, Quince is probably the most underrated place to get stuff for your home. Everything is super aesthetic, pretty affordable, and this candle just smells incredible. And if you want to take it that extra step, you can get a candle warmer in case you don't want to use any flames. I would even say this one does a better job of pushing out the scent, and of course you don't have to worry about the flame, and then you could set this on a timer, so after 20-30 minutes you could have it turn off by itself. Another thing I recommend is staying more organized. So not only do I recommend getting some shoe racks, some shelves to put all your stuff at, but just in general, this is your job to always stay clean and organized. For one, I am just a really big believer that a cluttered area just means a cluttered mind. If you feel like you're in a rut right now, the first thing that you should do is clean up your space. But as far as shoe racks or anything like that goes, Target is so goated, so underrated. They have extremely affordable organization kits. Again, boys, everything's gonna be linked in the description. One small purchase that could really upgrade a ton are blackout curtains. Now, I am someone who does like to wake up early, but especially at night, staying in an apartment, I always feel like people can see through my windows and I hate that. So I always set these down. There's no way they're seeing through these. And then also at times where I do want to sleep in, having blackout curtains help a ton with that. Especially for me, sometimes I'm quite a light sleeper and having a bit of sunlight can really stop me from sleeping in. And finally, the absolute smallest purchase that can go such a long way are some fake plants. I say fake because I've tried real plants. I, for some reason, cannot take care of a real plant. So fake plants for me are the go-to. I only have a few right now, but I definitely need to get more. In fact, I want to get some bigger ones. I think my room really needs one right now. My living room definitely needs one, but my kitchen island and my bathroom currently has one, and I really like the aesthetic of it. Definitely going to be getting a ton more. Now, boys, I know some of these things were crazy expensive, but I threw in some affordable things, so I hope that did help you out. I do think that upgrading your home can overall improve your life. And if you want to know other things that can improve your life, here's a video to show you exactly that.